Hey, what it do, world, and welcome to the Winner Circle podcast, man. We're about to get ready to talk about Hamburg versus Stuttgart's recap, and also we're going to talk about what to expect from the 8-4-8 and 8-3-8 playoffs, and why I think that this playoffs right here, I just don't know, man. Looking at these teams, man, I can see one or two teams from each one of these conferences running it deep into the playoffs, but I can honestly see a lot of these teams in 8-4-A and 8-3-A, possibly second round being, where a lot of them exit at. But we're gonna talk about it, man. So make sure y'all go ahead and get you something to drink, get you something to eat. A lot of people is at work, but hey, I want to say Happy Veterans Day to all the veterans out there. Happy veteran. Hope y'all go out there and get all the free food you can. I feel like it should be a whole week that we get this right here, but hey, one day you got to be blessed for that. All right, so hey, man, go ahead and get everything you need. We're about to go ahead and start this thing off with the Winner Circle podcast with me, Ray Diggs. We about to go ahead and get started. Time now. Hey, what it do, sports world? It's me again. The Winner Circle podcast with me, Ray Diggs, is here, y'all. Where passion meets performance and champions are made. I'm your host, Ray Diggs, bringing you the energy, the insight, and the mindset from across the world of sports. From the locker rooms to the big stage, this is where the real ones talk and legends rise, and the motto stays the same. Winners will always win. The Winner Circle podcast with me, Ray Diggs. We are here and we ain't going nowhere. Make sure y'all tune in because we're about to go live now. Peace. So what it do, world? Hey, man, I don't know why it sounded like that, but we're going to get that fixed. But hey, it's the Winner Circle podcast with me, Ray Diggs. We're here. Hey, man, we want to talk about what happened Friday night between Hamburg and Stuttgart. Stuttgart goes into Hamburg for a chance to win the 8-4-8 conference title. And they went in there and they took care of business and winning the game 52-41. It was a shootout. Both teams went back and forth all night, trading big plays, showing why they're both are hell of a teams. Nakia Lewis shined again with a big game, man, pretty much doing man things. But Stuttgart's quarterback, Kane Price, pretty much put not only 8-4-A, he put the state, he put the entire 4A on notice on why he needs to be considered one of the best players in the state. The kid put on a show all night, man. I'm talking about when Stuttgart needed a big play, he provided those big plays. I just feel like, man, this team right here, just watching them all season, this team right here, they have a guy at the helms that feels like when the ball is in his hands, he can do anything he wants to do. And I think a lot of those plays pretty much proved it. Every single time that Stuttgart needed a play, he made the play. I'm talking about it can be third down and long. He's gonna run and he's gonna get a long run to get a first down. If they did get the first down, I feel like he got them close enough to where his coach pretty much was like, let's go for this, because he knew what he had at quarterback. This game right here, man, like I said, these two teams right here, it was a hard-hitting game. Both of these teams right here put it all out there on the line. But I feel like when Hamburg came out there and got the ball first, I don't know, maybe it was just me. I feel like Hamburg should have kicked the ball off. And why I feel like Hamburg should have kicked the ball off is because once you kick the ball off, you kind of get yourself, just in case something happens. This right here is what I learned from Nick, just watching and listening to what Nick Saban always said. Nick Saban always used to say that when you get the ball, if you kick the ball off, when you get the ball in the second half, it depends. Like it kind of like when you going into halftime, you just never know how this game is gonna be. So Nick Saban always used to say that's why he always kicks the ball off. He wants the ball after halftime because just say like if you're down by 3 or you down by 10, you can always change the momentum with that first drive of the second half. And that's right there why I was so big on Hamburg getting the ball first against Stuttgart. I was just like, I would have kicked the ball off to them. Give them the ball first and just to see what happened. Just say if you go and you get the ball first and then your defense stops them. Okay, now you got the ball and then you can drive it down the field. And once you drive it down the field, you pretty much, you're in control now. Long as you don't turn the ball over, you are in control of the game. All you need, really, honestly, is basically one stop because you got something that nobody else got, and you got the ball coming out in the second half. But when Hamburg came out and they got the ball first, they drove the ball right down the field on this Stuttgart defense, and they pretty much put it in the end zone with Nakia Lewis. Now, I borrowed some of these clips from Hootens. They already know. Hey, shout out to Hootens. I borrowed some of these clips because I think that some of these clips right here can pretty much tell you where this game changed at. When Hamburg came out, they got the ball, they drove it straight down the field, basically running the football with Nakia Lewis and Caden Thomas. That's pretty much all they did the first drive. They just drove it down the field. And I think that right there pretty much, Stuttgart defense did not budge. They was cool with everything. What did they do? They gave that ball to their quarterback, their leader, and he did the exact same thing, drove it down the field. And this right here, how the first half went. They just went head to head in the first half, came in the halftime. It was 28-28. Stuttgart got that ball in the third quarter, and I think that they knew that the momentum was getting ready to change. I think that Stuttgart pretty much looked at it at the end of the first half and was like, we want to stop them, but if they score, we're going to go right down. We need to score before the half. And that's exactly what they did. I think they scored with like 50 seconds to go. And then Hamburg got the ball back. They knew that their defense could pretty much hold them with 50 seconds to go, knowing that what Hamburg is a running team. It's hard. Now, yes, can Hamburg score in 50 seconds? Yeah, they can. But when you're a running team, it's a little bit difficult because now I know you cannot run like you want to run. So what Stuttgart did was they like, we just need to hold them heading into halftime because we get the ball after half. We get the ball after halftime. And I think that when coach, maybe I'm wrong, but I'm telling you something. When coach went in to halftime, he told his team, I bet you he told his team, it's time for us to take control of this game now. We're going back out here. We're getting the ball. We're going to drive the ball down their throat. What did Hamburg do? Hamburg kicked the ball off. Stuttgart drove it straight down the field and basically, put up a touchdown. Hamburg got the ball. They drove it back down the field. Well, but I'm going to tell you why I think Hamburg, honestly, in my opinion, messed up at. Two places in the game where they messed up at. One, kicking the onside kick. I wouldn't have taken that onside kick. Yes, you need the ball back, but I wouldn't have given them that good field position because you're giving a team you already pretty much proven that your defense cannot stop them. Why give them the ball at the 40-yard line? I cannot do that. I have to kick the ball deep and just play defense because you never know what's going to happen during a football game. Kick that onside kick. Stuttgart went straight down the field. That easy. And when they went for it on fourth down. So no team punted all night. No team punted. Hamburg had a turnover and a turnover on down. Stuttgart did not have none of that. That really was controlled the game right there. When they lost the game by 11. You lose a game, and this is 8-4-A. Listen, 41 points should be enough to win a game in a regular game. But this ain't a regular game. These are two different types of teams. These are two dynamic offenses. It's gonna be hard to stop them. 41 points for Hamburg. Hey, listen, I feel like you controlled them. 51 points for Stuttgart. Yeah, Stuttgart has been a scoring machine all season when they not putting the mercy rule on nobody. So this right here game pretty much went how I pretty much, I thought Hamburg would win the game, but it went kind of how I thought it would go. Two high scoring teams. I thought Hamburg would be the one winning by 2 touchdowns, but Stuttgart ended up winning by 2 touchdowns. But Hamburg came out and they pretty much drove the ball right down the field with Nakel. This right here is a play from it. Caden Thomas pretty much taking it down the sideline. Boom. Hey, I'm talking about he giving it to man, putting it in there. Man, pretty much taking number 19, and he's taking it to the end zone. Hey, listen, I'm talking about, I could tell he was ready to go after this play right here. But I'm going to tell you something. What did this kid do? He basically went straight back down the field. And I'm going to tell y'all something, man. This right here was a big moment in this game. And this right here, why Kane Price, the kid is just different, y'all. He's just different. It took me a minute to understand. It took me a minute to believe it as well. But guess what? I believe in this kid. I believe because of plays like this. When you see a play like this right here, y'all, I'm talking about they got him. Where they want him at. He's just playing backyard football, trying to get away from him. And then what do? He runs 20 yards back, and then he runs back and get another first down. And if he didn't get a first down, it was close to a first down. So when you do things like that, it's hard to beat. And when they got their first touchdown, I'm going to show y'all something. Hold on. I want to go back. Look at that look in his eyes. That look in his eyes tell me one thing. One thing. I'm not losing this game. When you got that type of look right there in your eyes, I feel like he's looking at the defense like, I know for a fact that they're not about to stop me. Now, I like Kane Price, but this is the only thing that I don't like is I think that he take too many unnecessary hits. I think that he should start protecting himself a little more. But this play right here, when I looked on Hootens yesterday, I was in the gym looking at this play right here. This play caught my eyes. I said, man, look at this kid's eyes. Look at this. He knows he about to run this time. And he got control of his offense, and he pretty much do the same Price do. Runs it in for a touchdown. So when he did that, when they did that play there, okay, it was even more plays in this. I think that Hamburg had a big advantage. I said this right here earlier. I said this right here as the game was leading up. Also, this right here was another big play by Kane Price. Thought you had him, boom. Take it, break him down, go, and you get. You talk about listen, man. It's hard to stop it. And then what did he do? He handed off to that running back, and let me tell y'all, that running back, he runs hard. That's what I'm saying, y'all. When you have a quarterback, right, that understands the game, and I said this right here on the other podcast, on my Homeboys and them podcast, CR Sports. I said this right here. I said, man, the difference between these two quarterbacks is that Kane Price, offensive coordinator, his head coach, gave him the keys to the Lamborghini or the whatever, the Rolls Royce or whatever you want to call their offense. He has the keys to them. He has the ultimate green light. Hamburg quarterback don't have that luxury. He just don't. And they can argue with me or whatever you want to say. He don't have that type of luxury of having the keys, being the driver. He's more like the passenger of the car. He's still riding with his parents. While Kane Price is driving his parents. You see the difference? See, the difference is he can check off at the line of scrimmage, pretty much run. He controls his entire offense. If he want to run, he can run. If he want to throw, he can throw. I feel like Hamburg's quarterback, he's following a system. He's a system. He's into a system. So he's going to do whatever the coach tell him to do. Hey, listen, when you snap the ball, look up, boom, right there. That's where you throw it to. Kane Price is sitting back there in the pocket, and he's just looking at whoever is open. And hey, shout out to their offensive line, man. Their offensive line pretty much played a hell of a game. Their offensive line kept Kane Price pretty much. Yes, he took hits. Of course, he did take hits, but his offensive line gave him time to pretty much. Actually, both offensive line was good all night. Honestly, it's just being real with you. But Kane Price's offensive line pretty much made sure that he wasn't being touched at all night. And when you did get close to him, you see what he did. He pretty much got up out the pocket and he runs it and he got yards. When Hamburg had him in just say like Stuttgart got a penalty, so it was pretty much 3rd down and 15. When you allow Kane Price to get 13 of those yards back, that is the backbreaker for that defense. Hamburg's defense played a pretty good game. We got to give it up to them. Yes, they played a pretty good game. They played a well enough game to win against a lot of teams. but you have to make the play when you have to make the play when you really need it against that team there, because they have a quarterback that if you do not take advantage of the mistakes, he's gonna make you pay. They did not take advantage of the drop balls. Kane Price was what, 20 for 29? I think that's what I saw. Probably 6 of those passes were drops. 6 of them was probably drops, honestly. So he probably incompleted probably 3 passes, 4 max. But I'm gonna tell you something. I got a lot of videos up here that I was gonna put up here, but I'm not gonna put them up here. You want to know why? Because I feel like some people don't know how to take criticism, and I'm not gonna criticize you. But I feel like this right here. Hamburg's defense, if they're gonna make a deep run into the playoffs, is gonna have to, one, make tackles. They're gonna have to make tackles. 2, they're gonna have to make sure that teams really. I feel like teams need to. I'm not gonna say fear them, but at least have them in the back of their mind somewhere. Like, okay, Hamburg got a really capable defense. I think right now a lot of teams feel like that they can pretty much score whatever they want to score on Hamburg's defense. And that's not the case. Even though Warren scored a bunch of points, Stuttgart scored a bunch of points, Magnolia scored a bunch of points. And you want to know what's crazy? Magnolia scored a bunch of points, and they one of the worst teams in 5A. They're like the 5th seed in 5A. So what I'm saying is, Hamburg's defense, if they're gonna make a deep run in the playoffs, they're gonna have to get right. They're gonna have to turn this thing around. This week they play against a very, very good Mina team. I said right here the other night, and I was watching Mina play against Darnell. And I'm gonna be honest with you. I'm not saying that they're gonna win a championship, but they can be a team that can upset a team in the first round. Do I think they're gonna upset Hamburg? I don't think they're gonna upset Hamburg. But I will say this: if Hamburg come out here sleepwalking, I could see it happening. I could really see it happening, because you cannot sleepwalk in the playoffs. Because every team is there for a reason. Every team is a playoff team. You're not playing against DeWitt no more. You're not playing against Star City no more. You're not playing against Crossett no more. All of these teams that's in the playoff, they all can win a game. So I think that Hamburg is going to have to come into this game. They're going to have to come into this game ready and prepared to for 4 quarters. They're at home, so I feel like, just coming to the Lion Den, that's already an advantage. But like I said before, Stuttgart, the winner of this Hamburg and Stuttgart game is the biggest winner, is my biggest winner for the next 2 weeks. Why do I say that? Because the winner of this game right here is in the top half of the bracket. Now, like I said, anybody can win a game, but you being up there in the top, Stuttgart, first of all, Stuttgart got a bye week. Then they will play the winners out of Blytheville versus Pottsville. And then if they can win that game there, they will play either Mills, Helena, Backside, or Ozark. I think Stuttgart can beat any of those teams. I'm just being honest with you. Okay, do I think Stuttgart can beat Elkins? I do think they can. Do I think they can beat Southside? I think they can beat Southside as well. Do I think they can beat Clinton? I know that they can beat Clinton. The only team out of these teams right here that's up at the top bracket that I think will give Stuttgart 100% a run for their money, though it's actually 2 teams, is Elkins and Orkadelphia. Those are the only 2 teams that I feel like in my mind. And I like Mills. I think Mills, they got a hell of a core. I like Moody. Shout out to Moody. I like him as well. But me watching Stuttgart, I think, and them getting a bye week, I think that they up there at the top part of the bracket, 4A looked out for the 8-4A champions. They definitely did by giving them a bye week, and also they're at the top half of the bracket, which is all of, not saying the weak team, but you ain't got to see Gosnell. You ain't got to see Nashville. You ain't got to see Darnell. You ain't got to see Hamburg. You ain't got to see, Grab It. You don't have to see none of those teams. So I feel like they actually looked out for the 8-4A champions. That's why I'm talking about, when I tell y'all, I was I must say I was upset. I was disappointed a little bit because I wanted Hamburg to get that number 1 seed. Because if Hamburg got that number 1 seed, I honestly think that they would have. I don't want to jinx nobody, but it's hard for me to believe that Hamburg wasn't getting to at least the third round. At least the third round, maybe even the semifinals. But Hamburg's in the bottom half of the bracket, so they would play against Mina, which Mina is the 5 seed. With a win and a Darnell win, Hamburg would travel up to Darnell to face by a lot of people the number 1 team in 4A. I watched Darnell play. I like the way they play. They're a very physical team. They're a very quarterback heavy team. So, do I think Hamburg can possibly beat Darnell? Yes, I do think they can. And I think that if Hamburg can get past Darnell, I honestly feel like when I look at the teams down there with them, besides Darnell, I'm looking at the rest of the team down there like Lone Oak and Gravit, which Hamburg went to and beat them last season. I honestly think that Hamburg can easily get to the semifinals. Honestly, I don't think they will see a test until maybe Nashville. Nashville are going to have to see against Gosnell. So one of them are going to knock each other out. So when they get to, I mean, when you look at it, if Hamburg can mess around and get past Darnell, Mina and Darnell, I think that Hamburg could possibly easily make it to the semifinals. And we just never know what's going to happen when you get that far. I think that it's going to come down to health, discipline, and defense. And Hamburg, and like I said, Hamburg, Warren, Stuttgart, they play in the hardest conference. Honestly, if you just go down there and look, these teams play in the hardest conference. 8-4-8 is easily the hardest conference. You can argue with anybody you want to argue with, but 8-4-8 is the hardest conference. So, but if I had to pick a team or two that can make a deep run, I would say Stuttgart. Stuttgart can make a deep run. Hamburg can make a deep run. Warren can make a deep run. I don't really know. Monticello, I think they can beat Lone Oak? I do think they can beat Lone Oak. I do think that they can possibly beat Gravit. Honestly, I think that when Monticello is playing their type of game, and this right here is the time where Monticello, they're a very physical, big physical team. So, and one thing about Monticello is this: Monticello is one of those teams that really held a lot of offenses down. They was one of the only teams that held Warren down to like 27 points. So, out of all these teams, when I talk about 8-4-8, a defensive team, I think Monticello might have the better defense out of all the teams in there, to be honest with you, that's left into the playoffs. But Stuttgart is one of those teams that they already have a bye, so they already go into the second round. Who do I think out of 8-4-8 can make a deep run? Stuttgart is ultimately my pick. I would go with, if Hamburg can get past Darnell, they can definitely make a deep run. Warren, they're going to play against Gentry. I think they'll beat Gentry, but it's just Gosnell. I think that's going to be a tough game for them. But if it's Bo Hembry, I'm going to pick Bo Hembry, of course. I'm picking 8-4-8. But a lot of these teams, a lot of these 8-4-8 teams could possibly be gone in the first or second round, honestly, just being real. People going to be mad at me for saying that. But this right here, this is just the reality of it. A lot of these teams could be gone in possibly the second round. But I think that if Hamburg can get past Darnell, I think that they can make a deep run into the playoffs. And I think me watching Darnell, I will say this: Darnell is one of those teams that they'll have a very physical defense. So I think that Hamburg, I don't know if Hamburg can beat them running the ball. I think that Hamburg will have to be very, very balanced if they're going to beat Darnell. I think that Hamburg have a better chance at beating them by throwing the ball than they do running the ball. But Darnell have a good quarterback. Their quarterback is actually the linebacker, so the kid can really, really play. So I think that, like I said, these teams right here, it's a toss up. But I think Stuttgart 8-4-8 have the best chance to be in Little Rock in December. Because like I said, they are in a bracket where they really looked out for the 8-4-8 champs. So Yeah, that's what I think about that. So we're gonna go to 8-3A. This right here where them Fordyce Red Bugs are at. Okay, and I was sitting there, a lot of my homeboys on the podcast was saying Doomas. Like I said, Doomas play Walnut Reds. Do I see them beating them? Yes, I can see them beating them, but I cannot see them beating Mansfield. I see Doomas being gone by second round. I can see McGee. Like McGee can win against Magnet Cove because Stuttgart stomped them, and not Stuttgart. Fordyce stomped Magnet Cove, and McGee barely lost against Fordyce. I can see McGee winning that game, getting to the second round, but I see them being gone by the second round. I see Bismarck. Bismarck is a good team. Like, that is the team right there, honestly. And when I continue to go down and Drew Central, I can see Drew. I feel like Drew Central, honestly, if it's one team that can possibly get to the second round or the third round, it's probably Drew Central, honestly, because they play Paris the first round, then they'll play the winner, CMS and or Osceola, which I think that Drew Central can possibly win against either of those teams, honestly. But they have probably the better chance if they can get past this first round to possibly get to the third round. And then you pretty much have Fordyce down there. They're going to play against Jesseville. They're the 1 seed in there. So, they got Jesseville this week, and then they'll get the winner out of Charleston and Barton, which I think is going to be Charleston. Charleston is pretty much coming in under at 9-1. So that's going to be a hell of a game right there, man. I ain't gonna lie. I wish that I could go to that game right there. Charleston against Fordyce, man, that's going to be a very physical game. And then you have Smackover, Hackett, Mayflower, and Harmony Grove. So I think that, honestly, the winner of that Fordyce and Charleston game, even though I know Smackover, they got a quarterback, they got some ballers out there. I just think Fordyce with a defense, they can control all of that. They got one of the best defenses I've seen. Mayflower got a hell of a team as well. But if I have to pick, Fordyce will be the team that I think that can possibly go deep into this playoffs. Because with me looking up there at Rivercrest, I think Fordyce can beat Rivercrest. I watched Rivercrest play a couple games this year. I like their wideouts and their quarterback. Seem like they've been there forever, but I like them. So if I just had to choose, I would say Fordyce has the best chance in 8-3A to make it to Little Rock in December and possibly play for a state championship. But we have to take in accountability health. Do I think Fordyce is a healthy team right now? I don't really know, because they don't say nothing about their injury reports. But healthy, Fordyce easily could get to the state championship. But they got to go through Jesseville first. This is a team that hurt Cadillac. I was talking to Vincent Stroud. I was talking to him the other day, and he pretty much was saying this. This right here is the game. This right here is going to be a very emotional game, because this right here is the game where his cousin Cadillac got hurt at last year in the playoffs. So this game right here could be very emotional. Emotional can be bad and good. You see, but I think that it's going to be good in their sense. So I expect for Fordyce to go out here this week and take care of business. So I'm gonna go. I think Fordyce beats Jesseville, and I think Charleston beats Barton. And I think that it's going to set up for a 1 versus 2 matchup. And I'm gonna be honest, man. I think if Fordyce can get past Charleston, they're going to be in the semifinals easily. Because like I said, Fordyce, they got something that a lot of teams don't have. Do I think Fordyce? I'm gonna tell you the best defensive team in 8-3A. Fordyce got a hell of a defense. Let's see. Salem got a very, very good defense. Bismarck got a really, really, really good defense. Those are the 3 defensive teams that I feel like in 8-3A. These are the three best defensive teams in 8-3A. So I think that Fordyce, out of all the 8-3A teams, I think they got a better chance to be in Little Rock than any of the other teams. I think that Barton probably going in the first round. I think that Drew Central can possibly be going in the second or third round. I think that McGee is probably going to be gone in the second round, and I think Dumas could be gone in the first or second round. So it's basically just like how it is on both sides, honestly, in 8-4A and 8-3A. A lot of these teams could be gone possibly as early as the second round. But we got a couple teams that can possibly make a deep run. Like I said, I can see Drew Central and I can see Fordyce making a deep run. In 8-4A, I can see Hamburg. I can also see Warren, and I can also see Stuttgart. Stuttgart, honestly, I think Stuttgart is already in the third round. Because they got a bye week in the first round. The second round they'll play next week, which I think they'll win that game. And honestly, they have home field all the way throughout. So Fordyce, the only way Stuttgart do not get to Little Rock is going to be mental mistakes. It's going to be not executing what you know that you can execute. I think that their coach is going to have them ready. I think that they'll execute everything that their coach pretty much put in the game plan. This team right here understands. They understand what's at stake right now. And I think that this right here is a team that could possibly be in Little Rock in December. They have a very favorable route to the state championship. But hey, man, I just want to say, man, thank y'all again for listening to another great segment of the Winner Circle podcast with me, Ray Diggs, man. Hey, um, I I supposed to come back. I think I might come on maybe Thursday and talk about the well, actually, I just did that, so I won't. But hey, good luck to all the teams out there, man. Good luck to all the teams this past Friday. Um, Congratulations to the Stuttgart Riceburgs on becoming the 4A conference champions. Also, congratulations to Vincent Stroud and his Fordyce Redbugs on becoming the 8-3A conference champions. A very hard fought game down there in McGee. That was a hell of a game, man. Hey, shout out to my boys over there at Seahawks Sports. Hey, make sure y'all go over there to Seahawks Sports, man. Hey, they doing hell of a things down there, man. They interviewing great players. Hey, it was a pleasure being on there this week. I didn't know they was gonna have some players on there. They had Vincent Stroud from Fordyce, the star defensive end, offensive lineman from the Fordyce Redbugs. Very hell of a player. They had him on there. So, hey, man, I just want to say, man, thank y'all for having me on. And like I said before, man, go over there, support the channel, support Seahawks Sports. Man, we're just trying to put Southeast Arkansas on the map. Even though I don't live down there, that's right there where my heart is at. But hey, good luck to all the teams as they get ready to go into the as they get ready to go into the playoffs. This right here is the time. This right here is what all those practices over the summer, all the practice, all those tour days, all those hot days. That's right there is what that right there was for. Right now. Right now is what that right there was for. Now you got to go in there. You got to execute the game plan. Make sure you do what you need to do. And I guarantee you, man, everything you're going to be successful in everything you need to do. Hey, like I said before, happy Veterans Day to all the veterans out there. Hey, and thank y'all again for listening to another great segment of the Winner Circle podcast with me, Ray Diggs. Until next time, y'all have a great Tuesday and have a great, safe, blessed week. Peace.